Namaste. Thank you for joining me for our 60-minute Hatha flow yoga class. We are going to begin on the mat today, so if you're already there, welcome. If you're not, just take your time, lowering down slowly and mindfully to the mat, to a comfortable seat in the middle, whether that's sitting back on your heels or in any version of cross-legged or on a block even. And I do recommend having a couple blocks and maybe even a blanket if you have sensitive knees or some knee issues, to use that to put underneath your knees in our few postures today where we'll be holding the breath for several counts while on our knees. So if you know that is an area of concern for you, don't wait for the cue, just slide that blanket, or you can double up your mat by kind of rolling it, folding it like that. So feel free to take those adjustments as you need. When you're ready, you've got everything set up. Take a moment to take a deep breath in, close the eyes, exhale, arrive in your space. Let all the energy around and within you begin to settle. On your exhales, release the awareness of everything in the room, everything immediately outside of the area you've chosen to practice in today. Begin to breathe into just your body on your mat or your space. Taking a few moments to center yourself and connect together. Bring the palms together at heart center. Lower the chin so your gaze is down at your fingertips. We'll begin together with one Om if you'd like to participate. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to just receive. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale out to prepare for Om. Then an inhale. Exhale, release the palms, blink open the eyes. We'll get started in tabletop position for cat and cow. Fingertips spread wide, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. On an inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, curling the spine, tucking the chin, looking back towards your belly button, finding a rounded spine for your exhale. Inhale back to your cow pose, tilting the tailbone towards the crown of the head, looking up. Exhaling, curling the spine to cat, and continue with your own breath rhythm. In and full, out, curled in. You've probably noticed that almost every yoga class begins with cat and cow. And it's not by coincidence. It's one of the best ways to begin to warm up the spine, introduce the concept of the breath and the body moving together. And when we do things repeatedly, it becomes somewhat habitual and we lose a little bit of focus. But I encourage you and myself, when we take cat and cow, to let that be our ritualistic tuning in, checking in with the body, and resist the opportunity of letting the mind wander because we're so familiar with these movements. Keeping that ever presence. And take a few more rounds. Maybe adding in some other movements that feel natural and called for by your body. Then finding a neutral spine, we'll move to what is sometimes known as bird dog. So extend that right leg back, long and straight, pressing out through the heel, and then extend the left arm. So right arm or left arm out, right leg back. Lengthen on the inhales. And exhale, find your cat pose as you draw the elbow into the knee underneath you, and then squeeze it up, lifting up through the upper back. Inhale to re-extend. Exhale, curl it in. Lift it up, squeeze the belly in. One more time, inhale, extend, stay for the exhale this time. 2 breaths here. Press out through the heel, reach out through the fingertips. Lengthen extra on the next inhale, curl it in on the exhale, lifting up. And then gently replace the hand in the knee. Spend a breath of rest here before we move to the other side. When you're ready, lift the left knee, extend the left leg long behind you, flat foot, like you're pressing against a wall. Right arm lifts, lengthen, reaching that hand out like you're going to shake hands with somebody. Press out through the left heel, reach out through the right fingertips. Inhale to make yourself as long as you can. Exhaling, elbow to your knee underneath, squeeze it in, lift it up. Inhale to extend. Exhale, curl it in. Find your cat, tuck the chin, lifting up. Inhale to extend, stay here for 3 rounds of breath. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Gaze straight down at your hand, lengthening through the back of the neck. Lengthening through the side bodies. On your next inhale, press it out, reach it up nice and long. Exhale, curl it in. Lifting up, pressing the earth away, tucking up and in. Gently replace the hand and the knee. Roll the shoulders. Shift the hips over the heels, child's pose, walking the hands away from you. We'll be here for 3 rounds of breath. Any variation of child's pose that you'd like, you can open the knees or keep them together. Allow the forehead to lengthen either to the mat or a block. And as you inhale, feel the back body expand. Stay here for 1 more round of breath. And then take a side body stretch, walking the fingertips over the right side of the mat as far as you need to go to feel it in that left side from the armpit or where the shoulder connects, down through the rib, almost all the way to the left hip point even. Relax the head and the neck, release the jaw here, and spend 3 rounds of breath, expanding the left lung into that side. Notice if you begin to hold tension in another area of the body when you've expanded your inhale as much as you can. Release them on the exhale too. After your final exhale, walk the fingertips back to center. Relax the hands down, spend a round of breath in rest and center position. And then on your next inhale, walk the fingertips over the right side of the mat. Taking your time, only go as far as you need. We're not quite going to our edge here. Just warming up, just introducing the shape. Take a deep breath in. Exhale at the head, hang heavy. Feel the breath expanding into the right side. 2 more rounds of breath here. And as you're ready, lifting the gaze, walking the hands back to center. Lower the forehead and bring the hands back behind you, and either rest the palms or the backs of the hands on the mat, palms up, or you can clasp your hands together at your low back and begin to lengthen, wiggling the shoulder blades together. I'm not going to lift the arms up yet, just introducing the shape. The shoulders back, fingers clasped at the low spine. Spend 2 or 3 rounds of breath here. And as you're ready, release the hands. Slowly begin to sit back up. Finding your tabletop again. And taking thread the needle. So left hand in the center of the mat under your face. Inhale, reach the right arm up. Twisting open, right fingertips come up towards the sky, and then exhale, gently lower them through, all the way underneath, lowering onto your shoulder or a prop. Maybe the side of the face meets the mat. Breathe here for 3 or 4 rounds of breath. The left arm can come up overhead. You can also take a bind by lifting that left arm, bending at the elbow, back of the hand tucks into the crease between your side and where the hip meets. You can play with that or just leave the hand on the mat. Deepening your inhales, extending the exhales. On the inhale, if you took the bind, release, reaching that left arm up. Plant the left hand next to your face, press into that hand to lift yourself up. Drag the fingertips across the mat, then reach them up, reopening. Exhale, plant that right hand in the middle of the mat, other side. Left arm gently sweeps up, take your time, no rush. Fingertips reach up, gentle twist towards the left. Exhale, lower that left palm, left fingertips raise the mat as you reach underneath, lowering to your shoulder, the side of the face. Keep your hips over your knees. You took the bind and try on the other side. Right arm lifts. Bend the elbow so the back of the hand comes to the side body. Wiggle your fingertips between the hip crease. 3 breaths here. Keep pressing the belly against the thighs as you inhale, giving yourself more room for fresh air. Exhaling out as much air out through the nostrils as you can. Find a little relaxation here. If you took the bind, inhale, release the arm up. Lower the right palm, press the right hand next to your face on the mat, lifting yourself up, dragging the back of the hand, sweeping the left arm up, reach it up, twist. Exhale, plant that hand down next to you on the mat, and roll the shoulders a few times, maybe a few cat and cows, maybe a few other weird movements that don't quite have names that feel good. And then as you're ready, tuck the toes. We're going to press up into downward facing dog. Fingertips spread wide, finger pads pressing into the mat. Lift the knees, send the hips back. Then begin to lengthen through the legs, straightening the legs as you lift your tailbone up. Press your chest towards your thighs. Lengthen through the spine, release the head and the neck, gazing back at your knees. Allow the heels to become heavy, especially in the first downward dog, or if you're just starting your day, you might need to really bend into those knees to start. Pressing the earth away with the hands, lifting up through the tailbone. One more inhale here. Look between your hands and make your way to the top of the mat for a forward fold. Again, you can keep your knees bent deeply here for our first forward fold. Chest over the thighs, head hangs heavy, hands reach for the feet. 3 breaths here. Refocus on the breath. On your last exhale, let it all go. Your inhale is going to bring you up to halfway lift. Hands to your shins, pull the shoulders away from the ears. Straight spine. Tailbone pressing away, crown of the head reaching straight ahead. Your gaze is down at the mat right in front of you. 2 more breaths here. On your last exhale, slowly lower back down, bend the knees, reach the arms up overhead as you drop your hips and begin to stand, pressing into the knees to reach it up. Arms come up overhead. Exhale, cactus arms. Elbows down. Inhale to lengthen the arms back up. Exhale, finding mountain at the top of your mat, arms to your side. Continue to warm up the body with 3 rounds of sun salutation A. So coming to the top of the mat, if you're not already there. Feet firm about hip width distance apart. Chest shining bright, palms facing forward. Lengthen through the tailbone, down towards the mat. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Tops of the ears reaching up. Firm and tall. On an inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Your exhale is going to take you all the way down. Forward fold, slight bend in the knees. I recommend as your chest comes over the thighs, diving forward. Inhale, halfway lift. 2 breaths here. On your exhale, begin to fold, bending the knees, plant the hands, step back to plank. Top of a push-up position, lifting up through the heels. Shift the weight forward a little bit and keep the belly firm. So wrapping the lungs, the ribs up and in. Tucking the belly button in towards the top of the back, towards the spine. 1 more breath. Lower your knees if you need. Then when you're ready to lower to cobra, lower the knees, untuck the toes, lower the belly all the way to the mat. Forehead touches. Bring the palms right next to your chest. Squeeze the elbows in and notice the shoulder action. When you squeeze the elbows in, the shoulders should be pulling away from the ears. So press the elbows back and in. Tops of the feet press into the mat, activate. So maybe your knees lift off the mat. And then keeping the neck looking down, inhale, lift the chest, finding the tiniest back bend. When your chest lifts, you can lift your gaze just a little bit. Keep the feet pressing down and back. 3 breaths here in cobra. Last breath in. Exhale, lower the forehead. Take a breath, take a rest. And then tuck the toes under, bring the forehead off the mat, press into the hands to lift up to plank, downward facing dog. Sending the hips up and back, maybe walking the heels in, lengthening through the spine, looking back at your heels, up to your knees, maybe up to your belly button if you can see it. Then inhale, look towards the top of the mat and complete our salutation of the sun with the forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms up as you go. Take your time, arms overhead at the top. Exhale to mountain. 2 breaths of rest here. Finding your focus, feeling firm. This can feel like a resting posture, but it needs to be strong and stable. Make this pose a little active. Firing up the legs, pressing the shoulders away from the ears, broadening through the collarbone, reaching up through the crown of the head. We'll take 1 more round of sun salutation. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees, chest over thighs. Head reaches down, fingertips reach down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant the hands, step back to plank, or you can lower to your knees. Shift the weight forward, spin the biceps forward, elbows towards the back. Looking straight down. Embracing the fire that's building within you. You'll need it later. 1 more deep breath in. Exhale, lower to the mat. Cobra pose. Untuck the toes. Hands are next to your chest. Zip the elbows in, shoulders away from the ears. Tops of the feet press into the mat. Inhale, lift the heart. Then gently lift the gaze just a little bit. And this time we're going to lift the hands off the mat. So you should be using the muscles of your spine, your core, even the tops of the feet to keep you lifted here. Squeeze the elbows down and back, hands lifted, 2 more breaths. Exhale, lower the forehead, and press it up and back to downward facing dog, however you want to get there. Deep breath in, open mouth, exhale. Look between your hands, make your way to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, rolling the spine, arms come up with you. Palms together at the top, exhaling down through heart center. Lower your gaze to your fingertips. Then release the palms and find your mountain. And take 3 rounds of breath and rest here. Finding that firm mountain pose. Dig the feet into the mat. Activate the legs. Point the tailbone down. Find a little space in between each vertebrae as you lengthen up the spine. Shoulders relax away from the ears. Slowly lift your gaze up. We'll take tree pose. Shifting the weight to the left foot. Begin to lift up onto those right toes. And you can stay here like a little kickstand with the heel against the right heel against the left ankle. Or you can slowly begin to drag that right foot up however far it will go. Avoid picking up that foot and planting it somewhere. You might be able to get it up higher. But we want to work on that mobility of being able to draw that foot up using the muscles, using the leg, finding your spot. If you've got your foot right in the little spot of your knee, it fits really nicely right there. Be extra careful to press that left leg into the right knee as well, and you're not dumping the whole weight of that right foot into that knee. You can keep it on the knee as long as you stay grounded and aware. If you have some extra worrisome knee problems, then it's recommended you don't put your foot on your knee. Otherwise, it fits quite nicely. So be aware and do what feels right. Any arm variation here, I like palms at the heart, especially at the beginning of the practice. We're still working on deepening the breath, bringing our awareness into the body, into our mat. Feel the opening of the hips here. Still rooting down through that left foot, lengthening up through the spine. And imagining someone's like a puppet string, lifting you up, lengthening, making space. Strong and grounded. One more inhale. Exhale, bring the right knee forward. Slowly lower that right foot. Release the hands. Take a breath. When you're ready, we'll move to the other side. Shift the weight to the right foot. Prop that left heel up onto that right ankle. Just the toes touching. Stay here. Or begin to play with drawing that foot up as far as your own strength, your own ability can take it. Take the hand variation that you'd like. Spend a few breaths settling in, and then find some stillness in your tree. Growing roots deep down, lengthening up to the crown. Making sure wherever you normally hold tension that you're releasing. Let the core handle the balance, not your jaw, not your face, not the hands pressing together intensely. Find some softness. If you're prone to locking out your joints, little bend in the knee, keep it a little buoyant. Squeeze the foot and the knee together. Remember, don't press too much into that knee if your arch of your foot is right in that sweet spot. It's okay if you blow with the wind a little left and right. You notice trees do that too. It's those strong, stable roots and the reaching up towards the sky that keep it grounded and rooted, able to withstand whatever winds. 2 more breaths here. Soften the face. On your exhale, draw that left knee forward. Slowly lower that left foot to the mat. Relax the hands. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, roll the spine, coming up, shrug the shoulders, exhale down the back. And then inhale to chair, drop the hips back, weight in the heels, arms come up overhead. Stick the tailbone out and then tuck it deeply. Take a couple of those and then find your neutral spine. So you don't want the tailbone sticking out too much or curling in too much. We're gonna be here for 5 breaths. So take your time, set it up. Keep shifting the knees back over the heels. You might need to stand up a little bit. So maybe you're more in a high chair kind of situation. There's no judgment. Arms reaching up. You can bring the palms together. If you've got tight shoulders, it might work better to separate the hands a little bit. Squeezing the belly in. Send yourself some love. Tell yourself this is your favorite pose. One more inhale. Exhale, palms together to heart center, forward fold. Heel toe the feet apart. And take ragdoll pose, relaxing down. Hands grabbing either elbow. Crown of the head, releasing towards the earth. Deep bend in the knees. And then gently release. Inhale, roll it up to stand. From here, we're going to take boat pose, but we're going to go through chair. So sweep the arms up. Press the hips back, lower down, bending at the knees. Finding your chair pose. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, press the hips back, sink the hips back, lower to the earth, lowering the tailbone to the mat. Tipping back when you get there to lift up the feet. Grab behind the knees, draw the knees in towards your chest as you roll your shoulders back. So we don't want to be hunched over in both. Roll those shoulders back, lengthen through the spine. Balancing on the tailbone. If you need a little extra stability, you can bring your hands to the mat. That's just fine. If you're ready for a little bit more challenge, you can release the hands and bring the palms up. Stay breathing here. Lifting from the heart, maybe beginning to straighten the legs. Maybe your boat is shaking like mine. Stay with yourself. If you notice your back starting to curl forward, draw that knees in, lengthen through the spine. 2 more breaths. Big breath in. Open mouth, exhale. 1 more, inhale. Exhale. Bring the knees back to center. Plant the feet on the mat. Lengthen through the spine by pulling your chest towards your knees. And then release. Lengthen the legs out in front of you. Remove any flesh away from your sitting bones. You want that direct contact down on the mat. Roll the shoulders down the back, finding staff pose. Straighten the spine. Lift up out of the hips. Hands can be planted on the mat if your arms are long enough. Mine are just not quite there. So I might tend up on my fingertips a little bit. Squeeze the belly in. And then relax it as you lengthen through the low back. Look straight ahead. Slight tuck of the chin to lengthen through the back of the neck. Toes are facing up. 1 more inhale. Slow exhale out. Bend the knees, dragging the heels. Take a few windshield wipers, lowering the knees to the right and then to the left. Bringing out the spine. A few more breaths here. Take your time. A couple more lowerings to either side. And then walk your hands a few inches behind you, preparing for reverse plank. Couple options here. If you know reverse plank is going to be a little too intense for you, you can take reverse tabletop by walking your feet in and just lifting up through the hips, creating a straight tabletop with your upper body. Either way, wherever you're at, if you've got a block handy, bring that block in between your thighs and squeeze the thighs together. This is going to help you keep that integrity, keep the power moving, and help you keep your low back safe by moving from the core. So if you're taking that reverse tabletop, you can stay here. Otherwise, you can walk your feet a little bit further away. Squeeze the elbows in. Activate the spine, lifting up out of your tailbone. Press into the feet, lift the hips up. Maybe walking the feet away a little bit more. Maybe lifting up off the heels. Maybe keeping the toes down. Keep squeezing into the block, lifting up through the hips, and then look up. 3 breaths here, you can do it. So squeezing the elbows in, lifting up through the core, lifting up out of the shoulders. 1 more inhale. Slow exhale down, lowering the hips, relaxing the legs, moving the block out of the way. Bring the soles of the feet together for Baddha Konasana. Bound angle. Grabbing your ankles or wherever's accessible. Roll shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale down the back. Inhale, lengthen through the heart. Press the heart through the shoulders, finding a cow-like pose. Exhale to your cat-like pose. That breath pressing the back of the heart through the shoulder blades. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale the neutral spine. Walk the hands in front of the feet. And lengthening again, lengthening it out of the hips. So lift up. Hinging at the hips, walk the hands forward, folding over the heels. Maybe bringing your chest a little bit further forward. Maybe you're staying where you're at. 3 rounds of breath here. Relax the jaw. Release the unnecessary turnings of the mind. Soften through the shoulders. And then inhale, begin to sit back up. Make your way to your belly for Cobra pose. Lowering all the way down. Palms next to your chest. Forehead to the mat. Squeeze the elbows in. Press the shoulders away from the ears. Tops of the feet press into the mat so the heels spin up and the knees lift. Inhale, lift the heart. Keep the gaze down. 2 breaths here. On your third inhale, lift up a little bit higher, this time pressing into the hands a little bit. Maybe the sternum lifts off the mat. On your next inhale, maybe you lift up a little bit higher, pressing into the hands. No obligation, you can stay in your low baby cobra as you need. Keep the tops of the feet pressing into the mat, shoulders relaxed away from the ears. 1 more inhale. Slow motion, lowering down on the exhale. Forehead to the mat, or you can rest one side of the face. Relax the arms at your side and rest. If you lowered your face to one cheek, go ahead and switch sides. Turning your head so the opposite cheek is on the mat. Relax the shoulders, allow the ankles to roll open. And then on an inhale, bring the chin to the center of the mat. From here, we'll move to half locust pose. So palms of the hand pressing down onto the mat. So spin the hands so the palms press down next to your thighs or your hips, wherever they land. Zip the big toes together and squeeze the legs together. This is also a great place for a block. So have a block handy. We're not going to use it on this first couple rounds, but have it handy for you because we're going to be using it in a minute. So chin on the mat, tops of the feet pressing into the mat just like cobra, knees are lifting. Take a big inhale, slow exhale. On your next inhale, lift that right foot off the mat. So just the right foot, lifting from the inner thigh. So we're not opening the hips here. We're keeping the hips parallel to the mat, lifting up through the inner left thigh, lifting up through the heel, and at the same time pressing the toes back. So you're pointing the toes, lengthening, finding length. Forehead or chin to the mat, whatever feels more comfortable for your neck. Couple more breaths here. Maybe looking a little bit higher if you've got it in you. If not, don't worry about it. Stay where you're at and breathe. One more inhale. Exhale, slowly lower that leg. Maybe you notice it feels a little bit longer than the other one. Not to worry, we'll even it out next. So again, bring the big toes together, press the tops of the feet into the mat. Chin or forehead to the mat, arms at your side, fingertips reaching towards the back of the mat. On an inhale, from the inner left thigh, lift that left leg. Hips are staying parallel, lifting up through the inner thigh. You feel the crunching in your low back, maybe lower and point the toes more, reaching that leg. We're finding length. Maybe even in your core, reaching the heart forward, reaching the head forward. 2 more breaths here, you've got it. Stay with yourself, feel the pose. 1 more slow inhale. Exhale, slow motion, lower that left leg. Couple breaths here of rest. And then when you're ready, if you've got prop, bring it between the thighs. And we're going to squeeze that yoga block or whatever you're using for a prop between the thighs. Palms come back down to your side, face down. Squeeze the block, press the tops of the feet into the mat so your knees lift. Maybe lifting the chin, but keeping the neck long. And on an inhale, lift both legs. A little bit harder. Keep the toes reaching back, lengthen through the upper body. 2 more breaths. Slight tilt of the pelvis down if you're feeling it in your low back. Lengthen through the whole spine. 1 more inhale. Exhale, slowly lower. Remove the block. Bend the knees, and you can take kind of reverse windshield wipers. So dropping the knees and the legs to one side and then the other. You feel really good. And keeping the knees bent, bring your chin to the mat. Bring your hands next to you. And bring your left forearm to the mat, fingertips reaching forward. On an inhale, sweep that right arm back, reaching for that right foot. You can lower your left foot. Look forward. Couple breaths here. You can't quite grab your foot, that's all right. Just reach for it and tuck the heel in towards the glute. Opening through the heart. If you want, you can walk that left hand forward a little bit to intensify the stretch. Be gentle. And then without slingshotting, gently release the foot. Release the right hand to the mat. Bringing the forearm underneath you, shoulder over the elbow. Bend into that left knee. Reach that left arm back. Grab the foot if you've got it. If not, just reach back as far as you can. Take it a little bit further if you'd like by walking the right fingertips over the top of the mat. You'll feel a little bit more stretch in the quad and the front shoulder. Keep breathing here. Then gently lower the knee, release the foot. And shift up and back to child's pose, any variation, knees together or apart. And find 3 rounds of breath of rest here. And on an inhale, slowly begin sitting up onto your knees. There's a good place to use that blanket or fold the mat over if you've got sensitive knees. Preparing for baby cobra. Bring your hands to your waist. Your thumbs are pointing in towards each other over the low back. Relax the shoulders down. And another great use for the prop here, right between the legs. I'm squeezing the legs together. Squeeze the elbows in. So this is prep for back bending, but we're not gonna really do too much back bending here. We're just prepping for it. So squeezing those elbows in will give you that sensation of squeezing the shoulder blades in. Beginning to open through the heart, lengthening through the back. Lift up out of the ground from the knees. Squeeze the legs together. Slowly begin to lift the chin until you're looking at the ceiling. And just stay here. Welcoming an even curve in the back body. Keep pulling the elbows together. Shoulders away from the ears. Core is active here in case you don't feel it. Lifting the belly up and in. And slowly lower the chin. Relax the elbows. Move the block. Sitting back on the heels to hero's pose for 2 breaths. And then I'll meet you in downward facing dog. And pedal out your heels. We'll spend 3 rounds of breath in downward dog. And drop the head. Press the chest towards your thighs. Final inhale, fill all the way up. Exhale, let it all go. Look between your hands and bring your left foot between the hands. Now, this is another one where you don't want to, we're not swinging the left leg back to gain some momentum. I want you to use your full mobility. So if that's a challenge, you've got to take a few steps, let the ego go, and do what you need to do. Low lunge, lower that right knee. Left foot is in the front, between the hands, right knee is on the mat. Inhale, look up, lift the heart. Exhale, stay. Inhale, begin to sit up, arms come up overhead. Cactus your arms. And then inhale, reach up. Without moving, press the right hip forward as you lengthen up. You'll feel a little stretch in that front right side body, maybe even the psoas deep in the core. Exhale, hands down. Step that left knee back. Meet me back in downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Fingertips spread wide, heels lengthening towards the mat, knees bent if you need. Straight spine. And look back at that right foot. And we're going to bring that right foot between the hands. Taking your time, getting there however you need, however many little steps it takes. Once you're there, lower the left knee, untuck the left toes. Low lunge. Inhale, pull the heart through. Exhale, stay. Ground down. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, the cactus arms, elbows down, squeeze it down. Inhale, reach it back up. Keep the arms lifted. Press the left hip forward, right hip back. Feel that length in the front, left side body. Lift up out of your hips. Inhale, lift a little higher. Exhale, hands to the mat. Bring the right knee back down. Lower to your belly for a cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Look between your hands. Make your way to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand. Roll the spine. Bring the arms up overhead. And then exhale, step the right foot back to the mat for warrior 2. Spin the back right heel down. Settle in, lowering into that front left leg. Right toes are facing the right edge of the mat. Open through the hips, open through the shoulders, extend the arms long. Reach forward with the front palm, reverse your warrior. Stay here for 3 rounds of breath. Space and opening in the side body. Maybe finding a little hint of a back bend here as you pull that left arm, that left shoulder back and look up towards the sky. Inhale back to warrior 2. 5-pointed star, straighten both legs, heels in. And then turn to warrior 2 to the back of the mat. Right toes face the back of the mat, left toes face the edge. Sinking into that front foot, open through the hips, so press the hips forward. Pull the heart through, reach forward, put the front palm, reverse warrior, or peaceful warrior, it's also called. As your arm drapes up over your head, pull that right shoulder back. Keep some length in both side bodies. Hinting at a little back bend by pulling that right shoulder back, dropping the head back. Hang out here for another round of breath. Inhale back to warrior 2. 5-pointed star. Turn towards the top of the mat, step to forward or to mountain. And then inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant your hands, step back to plank, last plank of the class. Spinning the biceps forward, lifting up through the hips, lifting up through the heels. On an exhale, see if you can lower all the way down to your belly. Shift the weight forward, bending at the elbows, keep the chin up, keep the gaze forward, all the way to the belly. Relax the forehead to the mat, relax the arms, and take 3 rounds of breath, of rest. Allowing the heart rate to slow. I'm going to take our final back bend. As you're ready, if you need a few more rounds of breath here, catch your breath. Bring your awareness back to your body on the mat. Release distracting thoughts. Focus your concentration on the body lying on the mat. The legs lengthened behind you. Bring the chin to the mat. Gazing forward. And begin to bend your knees, drawing the heels in towards the glutes. Bring your hands where they would be for cobra pose. Draw the elbows in, lift the heart. So finding cobra pose with the knees bent. Keep the gaze slightly down so you're lengthening through the back of the neck. And the arching of the back is coming from between the shoulder blades, the low back, not from the neck. Spend a couple breaths here. And when you're ready, reach the right hand back to grab the foot. Inside of the foot. If you've got it, go ahead and grab the other foot. Draw the knees together. This is another great place for the blocks. If the inside grip isn't working, you can also grab the tops of your feet. Squeeze the thighs together. Lift up through the heels and the toes. Lift up through the shoulders. Finding your bow pose. Balancing on the belly. Keep the neck neutral. Keep the breath steady. Squeeze the knees and the thighs together. Shoulder blades squeezing together. 2 more breaths. Lifting up. Lift the gaze a little bit if you lift up a little bit higher. Exhale, slowly lower. No slingshots, gently release. Let out a big breath. Relax the face to the mat, however feels most relaxing. Feel the effects of that pose washing over your body. Stay with it. Don't let the mind wander. Breathe into the sensations. And as you're ready, I'm going to slowly press yourself up. Finding child's pose. Hips over the heels. Surrendering down. Breathing into the back body. Backbends are big heart openers. And the heart center is where we feel not only love, but also that opposite, that fear, uncertainty. So taking lots of backbends can release a lot. So if you're feeling any of that, just let it flow over you. Taking child's pose or any surrendering pose after big heart openers is a reminder to just let things go. Just surrender down. Let it be. Let it release. Healing comes from that time of reflection, allowing our bodies, both physical and subtle, to work through whatever it's been experiencing. So let yourself feel through, even if none of that resonates with you. If there's something else you can let go of, or if there's love that's lacking in any part of your body or your life, allowing that to saturate you. When you're ready, slowly begin to sit back up. Shift the hips to one side. Extend the legs long out in front of you. Bending the right knee. Draw that right foot in. Cross that right foot over the left leg. Your right hand crops up behind your low spine. Inhale, reach the left arm up. Bending at the elbow, hook the left elbow around the right knee. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist, gazing over your back shoulder. Take a few rounds of breath to find your twist. And then settle into stillness. Relax the jaw, relax the face. Three more breaths. To release, come forward on the inhale. Uncross the right foot, extend the right leg long, bend the left knee, cross that left knee over. Left foot comes to the outside of the right leg, left arm comes back behind you. Inhale, reach the right arm up, and hook that right elbow onto the left knee. Inhale to lengthen through the spine. Exhale, twisting from the heart, gaze over your back left shoulder, or however far you need to go. Maybe not that far. Lengthen on the inhales. Let the body naturally twist. Open on the exhales. As you give it some rounds of breath to open up. Two more rounds of breath here. Release on an inhale through center. Bring the soles of the feet together. Grab your ankles or your shins. Take a few rounds of cat and cow breath. Inhaling, pulling the heart and the chest through, dropping the head back. Exhaling, curling in, pressing through the back of the shoulder blades. Just a few rounds. And then coming back to neutral spine. Bring the left knee to the center of the mat and cross that right knee over for cow face pose. Stacking the knees as best you can. If that doesn't work, you can take fire log or crossing the legs any way that works for you. On an inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Right arm comes underneath the left, creating eagle arms, crossing the wrists or maybe just the backs of the palms together. Inhale, lift the elbows. Exhale, fold over the cross legs. Chest coming over the knees. Relaxing the arms down. Dropping the head of the neck. Spending a few breaths here. Breathing in that inhale to any areas of tension. Hint, hint, that right hip. You might start feeling soon, if not already. Inhale to that tension. Exhale, softness. Two more breaths here. Uncross the arms if you haven't already. Bringing the palms to the mat, keeping the body laying over the legs. And starting with the base of the spine, the tailbone, begin to slowly roll up as if you're coming up from a forward fold. One vertebrae at a time. Chest lifts, shoulders lift. Neck begins to lengthen as you lift your chin. And then we're going to gently uncross and recross our legs so you can relax back, switch the crossing. So now the left knee is on top of the right. You have a huge gap between your hips or your knees. You can prop that up with a blanket or a block. When you're set up, reach the arms up overhead. Left hand crosses underneath the right. Again, twisting the arms around again, or backs of the palms together to eagle arms. Pull the elbows away from your face. Inhale, lift the elbows. Slight arch of the back. Exhale, hinging at the hips. Try to bring your chest over your knees as you lower the arms in front of you or as far as you can get to the mat or draped over your legs, maybe onto props if you need. Let the head hang heavy. Breathe into wherever the sensations are drawing your attention. Soften any other area of the body that's tensing up in response. Allow yourself to become so heavy. Unwind your arms if you haven't already. Bring your hands to either side, keeping the torso lowered. Press into the hands and begin to roll up from the very base of the spine, stacking the backbones until the chest lifts, then the shoulders, the neck, and the chin. Shrug the shoulders down. Shift the weight back to uncross the legs. Widen the legs apart for wide legs, seated forward fold. Hands come in between. Toes pull back towards you. If you have a little bit of bend in your knees, you can prop it up or just keep that bend. Relax the shoulders down the back. Lengthen out of your hips, out of your sitting bones. Nice and tall, and then begin to hinge forward with the hips, keeping the heart lifted, the gaze lifted, walking, tiptoeing the fingertips until you can't go any farther with a straight spine. And lower the head. Lower the neck, relax the legs, and enjoy your forward fold. Releasing down. Maybe you'll find as your deep breaths enter next to the body, you begin to soften a little bit closer to the mat. If you're far enough down, you might be able to prop your forehead up with a block, or stacking your fists on top of a block or on the earth, making this a little bit more passive as we relax down and close out the physical practice today. Soften through the groin, let everything release. If you're ready to come up, gently press yourself up to sit. Make your way to your back. Keeping the knees bent, we'll take bridge pose. Walking the heels back towards the hips, feet about hips width distance apart. If you're feeling a little lazy, a little tired, take that block and put it between your thighs to keep that activation of the pose. Feet pressing down in the mat, hands and forearms pressing down into the mat. On an inhale, lifting from your core, from your belly button. It starts in your belly button. Lifting up, press the feet into the mat, squeeze the block, squeeze the thighs together. If you'd like to take it a little bit higher, you can clasp your hands together underneath your bottom, squeeze the shoulder blades together, wiggling onto your forearms, lifting up. Keep some length in the neck. Keep pressing into the feet, squeezing the thighs. We'll be here for 3 breaths. Unhinge the jaw, soften the face. On your last inhale, fill up as much as you can, like your torso is floating like a balloon up. And let your exhale slowly release you to the mat. On your exhale, gently releasing the block, bringing the soles of the feet together, the knees opening towards either edge of the mat. Allowing the hands to rest either open or towards the ground, whatever comes naturally for you. Spend at least 3 rounds of breath here. And gentle opening of the inner legs. And as you lie here, check in with the body. What final closing postures, lengthening stretches, curling in would feel best for you? How do you want to even everything out? Maybe tucking the knees in towards your chest. Maybe a happy baby. Maybe another twist. Take a few moments to move any way your body's directing. Making sure you do so gently. Using your inhales and exhales to guide your movements. And gently making your way to Shavasana. Extending the legs out on the mat. Arms at your side. Taking a full inhale. Full exhale. And then finding absolute peace, stillness. Allowing yourself to completely let go into the earth. Allow the breath to become natural. The eyelids to float closed. Being present. Being at peace for another couple moments until I bring you back. Slowly begin to bring your awareness to the feeling of your hips and shoulder points on the mat, the legs and the arms on the floor. Wiggle the toes and the fingers awake. And taking your time, slowly, small movement by small movement, rolling to one side, curling into yourself, the fetal position, spending a few breaths here. And gently pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat. Keeping the gaze soft, the eyes closed. Inhale the palms together at heart center. Drop the chin, and drop the gaze to the fingertips. Feeling the chest gently lift on your inhales, and lower on the exhales. We'll close out our practice together with one Om. Again, you're invited to share or just receive. Together, exhale all the way out. And inhale to Om. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, release the palms, release the mantra. Gently blink open the eyes and lift your gaze. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. I look forward to sharing again next time on the virtual mat.